The biggest challenge for me speaking in only 18 minutes is not my high I. It's my high individualistic or commanding, because I'm going to be so distracted by seeing 4 glorious screens of my face. So if you don't mind, if I could just have 18 minutes. No, I'm clearly kidding. I am so fortunate to be able to stand up here on this stage and speak with you because, I get the opportunity to speak with a number of groups throughout the year. But anytime I can talk with folks like us who influence the lives of so many people, it's really fulfilling. So my goal today is not to change your world or say something or share something that will somehow give you some brilliant insight. I don't think I'm capable of doing that. There's a lot more wisdom looking at me than there is looking at you. What I want to do, though, is provide you with a frame, if you will, a model that we use to think about our work at the Brooks Group that I think might help you, whether you're a team of 50 or a team of 5 or a team of 1. So sort of a time management or resource allocation model that works well for us. So for the many of you who may not know who the Brooks Group is or who I am, ours is a second-generation company. And we're very fortunate to have had a fantastic foundation laid by my father, Bill Brooks, who started the company back in 1977 as a sales-focused firm. He wrote about 23 books, was really prolific, and unfortunately passed away in 2007. And when that occurred, my brother Will, who's with me, and hi Will, you're great. We sort of had to decide, what are we going to do with this business? Are we going to transition it, or are we going to close it down? Neither one of us are great sales trainers. Neither one of us, frankly, are really effective speakers. Instead, we're business guys. So we looked at this asset as a tool, and we said, you know what? We didn't have the chance to plan this transition, and for those of you with family in the business, I encourage you to have this conversation now, what you want that to look like. But instead, we sort of reacted to what we had. So allow me to share with you the model that we created and continue to use today. It's not perfect by any stretch. No model is, but it's sort of helpful. So I'm going to draw 5 circles up here. The first one's in the middle. I want you to think about this as admin. These are all those things like going to the Apple Store or filling out invoices or paying bills. These are all the things that have to get done that, frankly, nobody really wants to do, but you got to do them, right? This is that administrative hassle, for want of a better term. Not that sending invoices is a hassle by any stretch. I'll send more of them, that's great. But admin, the stuff that has to get done. But let's talk about why your business works. Because up here, there's an idea. And so many of you are probably a lot like my father in this regard. You're working on an airplane and you're writing an article, or you're filling time, you're at a kid's soccer game or something, and you're listening to a podcast. You're constantly thinking, you're constantly working on your craft. Maybe you're a leadership person, so you've got a library of 10,000 leadership books. Or perhaps you're a salesperson, a sales-focused person like we are, and so you're constantly reading blogs on the topic. You're focused on that idea. You're looking for new perspectives. You're looking for new models. This is the idea generation, right? It's important. It's critical. You have to have a good idea before anybody's going to pay that invoice. Let's take it to the next step. This is something you can't read, which I will translate. Marketing. Boy, it sure is nice when people call you up and say, hey, Ron Price, I want to do business with you. Right? It's because of effective marketing. What is marketing? It's brand management. It's lead generation. It's demand generation. It's all these things to create an awareness inside a what? A target market you can serve. I think very often in our world, if you will, that market is a little bit broad, right? What do I mean? I'll take you back to 2001. How many of us were in the business in 2001? Remember 2002? That was a fun time, right? I remember I was in college at the time, and I had a job that summer, unpaid, of course, to help out at the office. And my job was to work on a video shoot we were doing for a product training video for forklifts. What does this have to do with anything? Nothing. My job literally was to hold a dowel and point at different parts of the forklift. That looked great on a resume. I was the forklift poker guy. So anyway, why did we do this? Because of that little thing called cash flow, right? And so, okay, all right, yeah, I hear this guy, this Brooks guy, he's saying, hey, let's focus on a target market, let's narrow it. Well, I got to pay the bills, right? I got to fill this admin bucket. It's a balance, right? And that's the tough part about this business. I can tell you, and there are a lot of people who agree with me, there's riches and niches. So as I look back at our growth over the last, call it, 10-ish years, each year we've gotten more and more narrow, and each year we have grown more and more and more. That's about marketing. Down here, our bailiwick, sales. Sales. This is about awareness, right? Marketing is about awareness. Sales is about actually closing the deal, getting face-to-face with somebody who can say yes or no and earning the business. I'm going to encourage you, be it our process, which is Impact, or any other process out there, and there are loads of them, and they're all great, have a process. I can't tell you how many coaches, consultants, trainers, folks in our shoes I know out there who don't have a process. They just, I got a live one. I'm going to meet with somebody today, and I can do I'm going to close it today, right? Just have a process. Understand how that works, right? Sales. Up here, delivery. How many of you, if you're honest with yourselves, are in this business because of delivery? You love working with the client, right? It's most of us. Now, I'll tell you, just as a little bit of my story, it took me a long time to realize that I was not my father, and nobody should ever pay the Brooks Group for me to deliver anything. But I did. I accepted that, and I've moved on from it. Now, you all, that may be your strength, so live with it, embrace it, be there. So here's the key. From that delivery, we go back to the idea. Because where do you get your best ideas? Your customers. They're telling you what they want to buy all day long. And so what that enables you to do is take that idea, market it, sell it, and then deliver it. And then generate some more ideas, right? If this is working effectively, if you've got good ideas and a strong marketing process, what you see is an expanding business, right? But you got to have marketing and sales. What happens if you have good marketing and good sales? Maybe good delivery, but you have a full pipeline, right? That's where the pipeline comes in. If you have good sales and good delivery, then you get delighted customers. They love you. That's where we want to be, right? Unfortunately, it takes all this. If you have good delivery and and you're taking that and creating new ideas, you have an expanding portfolio. Now, fortunately, and I'm looking back at the TTI folks on the back wall, we are all hugely advantaged because we are not the only ones who have to focus on this. We're getting good ideas from them all the time, right? Now, I had the opportunity to present at Hank and Jared's conference in Holland earlier this year, and there was a speaker who made a really great reference, which was, I don't have children, so you'll have to, I'm going to be a little theoretical here, but everybody loves their own children, right? But you don't always love the neighbor's kids. The idea here is take the ideas that TTI provide us, make them your own. Make them uniquely yours. You know, the marketplace is so big, right, that there's tremendous opportunity for you to own that. Now let's talk about the flip side, though, where this doesn't work, right? You have an idea, but you can't effectively market. You're going to sit in your office and wonder where the business is, right? Or you've got a great marketing and you're not selling. Well, that's just missed opportunities, right? Where are all the opportunities that they're squandered, right? If, on the other hand, you have strong sales or strong sales and weak delivery, well, then you got really upset clients. Quite frankly, you also see a cash flow problem here, and it plays out through collections. Nobody will pay you, right? Those invoices you're sending out, they're not paying you. And then finally, if you got bad delivery and you're not getting any ideas because you're not getting any feedback. So with this model, we simply look at the Brooks Group as a sort of a testing ground for this. Doesn't mean it's the best model in the world, but Will and I together made the decision that we were not the right people to take all of this on. We didn't have the desire. We didn't really understand it all. And we frankly didn't have the capacity to be really effective salespeople or instructional designers. So we chose to scale the business. We chose to very intentionally invest in ways that allowed us to grow it beyond our capacity. And so that was a strategic decision. It was a risky decision. We have not gotten it right every time. We've made more than our fair share of mistakes, which I'll be happy to share with you when there's not a microphone attached to my neck. But in all truth, we really have. And so that has looked like an investment in people. And we are so fortunate that we are supported by a tremendous team back at the Brooks Group. The accolades that we've been fortunate enough to receive are not about Will or me. They're about the team, and we really do feel that way. It's an honor to work with them. What I want to do now, though, is our head of facilitators would tell me it's important to get some audience interaction, right? So. And plus, as high as my eye is, I really do want to hear from you all. What I'd like to do is ask you to take 30 seconds, only 30 seconds, not a long time. I want you to look at these bubbles, right? I want you to think about your time in two ways. One, how much time do I spend in each bubble, and personally? And two, how much time do I want to spend in each bubble? Ready? Go. Oh, yeah, camera on the buckets would be great. All right. So, thank you. Now what I'd like to ask you to do is to make a commitment to each other, to yourselves, really. That's the only commitment that you can make on something like this, because you've got to hold yourself accountable ultimately. As we know, personal accountability is critically important. But how are you going to make this shift? Well, let me rephrase this. How many of you could raise your hand? Is there a difference between how much time you're spending in each bucket and how much time you want to spend in each bucket? How many see a difference? Okay. What's very enlightening or very nice to see is many of you don't need to make a shift. That's intentionality of choice, right? That's making choices that are meeting your desires. Now, those of you who raised your hands, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Terry's already got an idea. Oh, we don't want to hear it. It's so good, we're not going to tell you. So in all sincerity, I hope that this model is something that you can take away, not necessarily to transform what you're doing. I'm not going to stand here and say, hey, it's time to completely transform your business and you got to scale or whatever like that. That's not the case. Many people are very happy not waking up in the middle of the night with the thought of the amount of overhead that Will and I have to deal with every single week of our lives. There's nothing wrong with being a solopreneur. In fact, that's really admirable because you're far closer to your clients than Will and I perhaps are. However, each one of these buckets still need to be addressed. Each one of these buckets need to be addressed. And if we can close that delta between the reality and what we want, I believe you become more effective as a business, regardless of size. Thank you so very much. I appreciate your time.